AOC and Mamdani?
I am coming to you live from DC. If you
Mamdani. Mamdani.
is really
Yay!
everyone here is Trump decided that he wanted to go after me today. He's saying,
oh yeah, we didn't talk about that.
Oh, what's up?
What's up?
The man, the myth, the legend, Zohran Mamdani. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you? How are you? Thank you for having me on.
No, of course. Of course. I mean, everyone here is so excited for you, Zohran. Everyone's so proud of you.
I'm proud of him too.
Everyone is
Hypers
just,
if you're proud.
Like, really rooting you on, cheering you on. I, of course, am so proud of you, and I'm really cheering you on as well. And tell me, how are you feeling, just like as a person, as a human being?
It is quite surreal to know that polls are about to close in about 3.5 hours. It's been pretty incredible. We've been running around the city for about 12 hours, and there's a lot of excitement. And ultimately, it's just going to come out to whether or not we can get everyone who's excited to come out to the polls themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like people are ready for a change.
Yeah. And I mean, I know how it felt on that last day, like right before the results in my first race. And just as a person, like soaking up every minute leading up to this.
The tension is palpable,
really important. And so how are you feeling about that?
It's quite lovely. It's quite overwhelming in the best way. I think especially when you meet a lot of young people who have said time and again that they haven't seen themselves in our politics and in our policies before. And one of the things that reminds me of is when you were running and when you won, it was this moment for so many where it felt like democracy could be different, that politics could be different. And there was this young South Asian kid who came up to me. He's just like, I've never seen us before. And I think that it's that feeling that when politics has just become something less and less relevant to your life, to your struggle, you lose more and more faith in it. And it feels like this is a moment where we can't just say what Trump is doing is authoritarian, which it is, and think that that's the only crisis in democracy. The other crisis is that people just feel more and more removed from this.
Yeah.
And today has been so moving because people feel like it could actually be different. They could see themselves, they could see their life. And I think that is a beautiful, beautiful experience. And it's been lovely building it with you.
Yeah, no, of course. And I think for a lot of people kind of following and watching, something that a lot of people may not know is that you and I share communities. So for people following along, Zohran is one of the assemblymen in the state in my congressional district. So we both represent Astoria. We represent a lot of similar communities. And it's just been a real honor to govern with you and alongside you and take care of our community and to watch you really grow that responsibility into this race and into such an inspiring moment for everybody. And I know that, regardless of how this shakes, I feel really good, but, regardless of what happens, like just as of today, you have changed our politics a lot. And I just want to say the things that are hard to say as a candidate, but like,
I appreciate you.
To be the first major Muslim candidate for mayor of any city in America.
I feel like, I'm not going to lie, man. The only times that I remember that he's Muslim is when other people bring it up. I don't know if he practices. I genuinely have no idea. Or if it's cultural only or whatever. But he does not play it up very much, He doesn't play it up very much at all. He is so, what would you put it, I guess? Like, not idpol-pilled, Zohran comes off as white to me, Vosh. There are so many funny things I could say about that. I think that like, and this is 90% a joke, but I think that 10% of it is true. I think that he is so multicultural and international in my mind that he forms like all the bands of light. You have like all the spectrum of light as split by a prism, united into like a single beam of white, but not white like white skin, white like the everyman, like the every politician. I feel like if Zoran ran in any country on earth, I would see him there in front of the podium and I'd go, yeah, that looks right, you know? Like he could be in Latin America, he could be in America, he could be in any part of Africa, you know, North Sub-Saharan, he could be in any part of Europe or Asia. I feel like I feel like he's actually just the perfect guy. I don't know. He's the perfect melting pot. He's Pitbull. He's Mr. Worldwide. Not Japan. No, I could feel like I could 100% imagine Mamdani running around Tokyo doing like a dozen little like cultural showcase, like you know, here's a video of me talking with local supporters, things, you know. I'm just saying I like the guy. Okay,
today, let alone the largest city in America today, it is a breakthrough thing, and you have represented so many people, and you know, I think when we talk about the Democratic Party, again, Zohran's not saying this, I'm saying this, y'all, okay? When we talk about the Democratic Party, I think what a lot of young people also see is that we are facing a situation where the party is not going to change willingly. I think about this a lot because you are running this great race, and you've also ran alongside so many amazing other candidates, right? Brad Lander, who's just like salt of the earth, Zellner Myrie, Adrian Adams, and we have these great candidates, and everybody's so different. And even with that, even with the pick of the litter, the party is still going to make the same decisions ad nauseum. And so that's how we got Andrew Cuomo. This was not always a two-person race, right? Like, for all the people complaining about these things and whatever, this was not always that. The establishment did what it does. And young people need to rescue this country because we have been handed a burning climate. We've been handed just that we will continue to get the short end of the stick until we change things and make the world in a positive vision.
And we're being asked to trust the arsonists. And I think that's the most difficult thing for so many to comprehend, that we're being told, you know.
The big thing for me that elevates Mamdani over AOC, who have cooled on a lot over the years, is that Mamdani is capable not only of the relentless positivity, but also of hate. The hate is so important. You need to be able to take, because the kindness and positivity are you charging the Kamehameha, but you have to fire it, right? Like you need to build that public support for a reason. It has to be directed.
In New York City, the most pressing crisis as it is affordability, and then we're being asked to trust the architect of that crisis.
That's right.
And I think it's as you said, which is that we can't wait for the experts any longer. We can't wait for anyone to make the right pick. It has to be us. And I think, you know, I remember the moment when you won in 2018, and this realization that this could be in our hands. So many of the very people who'd been told to wait could be the ones that actually turned the page. Mm-hmm. And one of the most moving things to me has been, yes, seeing so many young people come out, but also seeing older New Yorkers who come up to me and they say,
AOC seems to me like she's been able to balance it out more. I don't know, man. The AOC needs to talk shit to the Democrats way the more, okay? We get it. You and Trump don't like each other. Okay. But like Schumer, Jeffries, okay, either you trade away she just did not the way I want her to. Either you capitulate to build political favors that you use in the future, or you act like an activist in office and you rail against the people responsible for putting us in this mess, like Schumer, you know? But there are some things she's done that I think are being done to like trade power behind the scenes. Like, remember when she did that hasty, panicked Instagram live where she said, guys, stop telling Biden to drop out after the disastrous debate with Trump? Remember how she was like, she seemed like weirdly frantic? Sometimes she does things that makes me think she's like building towards something in the back end. But what back end? The Democrats are completely useless and inept right now. Like, well, what's being done in the back end to fix these issues? You know? I don't know.
My daughter is making me vote for you. My son has told me I have to do this. A redefinition of leadership as to where it can also come from, and who can also be kind of leading that understanding even in our own family dynamics.
That's right.
And that's been beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also it's such a reflection of the people, because while our leaders may be clinging on, and they will not let things go without leaving nail marks on it. But that is not reflective of our parents' attitudes and our grandparents' attitudes and our great-grandparents' attitudes. Like, our grandparents, our abuelas, our abuelos, they want to give us the world. Yeah. And as you mentioned, like, you're seeing that in the city. And I think, again, no matter what, you have changed these things. Andrew Cuomo was supposed to cakewalk into this. In many ways, I think he wanted you as his opponent.
He did.
Well, he got everything he wanted.
And I think, you know, we always say there's no kings in this country. There are no coronations either.
That's right.
And he's having to find that out the hard way. And I think what's so exciting is that everything is there to play for. I mean, it is such a tight race. And you know, if people are in New York City, there's still these 3.5 hours. I would say come out, knock doors, call your friends, text your friends. And if you're not in New York City, go to ZahranforNYC.com/events, sign up for a phone bank, make those calls, because that can be the difference. You know, for every 12 attack mailers somebody gets in their mailbox, one actual person speaking to them can make the difference. And that's why we're even here.
Yeah. And this, as you mentioned, this race is projected to be very close. And so if you are someone, like Zohran mentioned, that doesn't live in New York City, if you have a friend that does, send them a text. Polls are closing at 9 p.m. Just send them a quick text and say, hey, have you voted today? Or, you know, vote for Zohran for me. For everything. And I know, and here's the thing, it's like, people are like, why do people care about this New York City mayoral race?
Hey, is DoorDash on the BDS list? Since DoorDash has contributed millions of dollars to Cuomo's campaign, and Cuomo is a lawyer for Netanyahu against ICC charges of crimes against humanity, are they on the BDS list? Can I DoorDash shame people now for like, from like more of a moral high horse? I'm gonna bring that up more. Hold on now. I always forget that Cuomo is literally a lawyer for Netanyahu against ICC crimes against humanity charges. I always forget about that because it's like insane. It's like completely insane. It sounds like the kind of like deranged conspiracy posting that you would hear from somebody who was tying together too many things, but it's also just completely true.
Race so much because it speaks to the dearth of leadership that people feel.
Are you serious? Yes, I'm Cuomo, Netanyahu, legal team. I just forget about it because it's so crazy. Andrew Cuomo has joined the new high-powered legal team after defending Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu against alleged war crimes in Gaza after the ICC issued an arrest warrant for the Jewish leader Thursday. It is Matrix shit, yeah. It is, yeah. It is insane, by the way, that he never gets asked about this. Like, people are like, oh, you know, Mamdani, he's so caught up in the Israel thing. No one talks about this at all with Cuomo. Defending against war crime charges. Look, they got the Power Rangers coming out here. Alan Dershowitz, former Harvard law professor and defense lawyer. That's not the only thing Alan Dershowitz is known for. Come on. You can't think of anything more? Epstein? O.J. Simpson, Epstein's lawyer, literally Epstein's lawyer. Also has argued for pedophilia. Never heard of him? Yeah, I bet. No, really? Yeah, hasn't he? Am I misremembering that? Hasn't he had multiple okay, leaving aside the fact that he was literally Epstein's lawyer and argued for the what was it? Clemency for George Nader, who pleaded guilty to child pornography and sex trafficking. Yeah. Literally, like, look at his wiki page. It's crazy. The whole thing is like being an evil pedophile. Like, the whole thing. Personal life and family, retracted sexual abuse allegations. They hate you. They hate you. And all media is complicit in it.
Feel in the country writ large. And we are going to find our bright spots wherever they come from. And you are one of them, Zohran. And you just are. And, you know, a lot of folks don't like change, and I get it. Trust me, I've experienced the brunt of that. But we need it. We need it. And the ideas that you've brought to the fore, saying enough with the rent crisis and the affordability crisis in New York City. You know, my family's from Puerto Rico, and we're getting Puerto Ricans are getting priced out of the island.
Yep.
And so I know a lot of people in New York City feel the same way. It's so painful for when your family grew up somewhere for 30 years and you feel like your family's going to be forced to be displaced and move to a place that they've never known.
Yeah.
Because
she literally said Biden shouldn't drop out. Yeah, I don't know why she did that. I really don't. There are like theories, right? I hope one day I get to find out. You know, I am curious what she traded or what motivated that.
Because now all of a sudden we've made $5,000 a month for a one-bedroom apartment a normal thing. And you're saying enough. And we have to draw a line. And we have to decide who the city is for.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's a really beautiful thing.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I really, truly, like, you've blazed the trail that we can walk on. And I think
I've seen this part.
There was this childcare worker who came up to me in Sunnyside, and she told me, I never used to think of myself as a progressive. And then I looked at Bernie and I looked at AOC, and I realized these are the only people that are fighting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's this moment of realization for so many New Yorkers who don't have the same language of how they describe their politics. They don't have the same language of defining themselves in a specific strain. And yet the most important thing is, are you actually willing to fight for the things that you believe in? And so many people will agree with what you just said of, you know, the rent is too high and the affordability crisis is too pressing. And yet,
funny that Mamdani performs better among wealthier voters. Yeah, it was the same with Trump and Kamala. So obviously there's a huge causative relationship between education and income, right? If you're making less than 50K a year, you probably don't have a degree. You might, but you probably don't. So the more money you have, the more likely it is that you're educated. So there's that. Oh, also racism. Black and Latin voters are more likely to go to Cuomo, and obviously their average income is probably lower than the average white or Asian resident in New York City. Both of those racial demographics are more likely to vote for Mamdani. So there's a lot lining up here, but yeah, overall it's an education thing, you know? But it does feel good to talk down to poor people. I can see why it's popular. I'm starting to, it feels good. It's like talking down to rural voters, but you can do it even in the city.
too many of them will take the same checks from that same landlord lobby and continue to despair over something they're facilitating. And I think that's what's on this ballot, you know, today until 9 p.m. is for 2.5 million New Yorkers who live in rent stabilized housing.
Dude, I legit despise the poor. Hey, me too, dog. No.
Win, that rent's getting frozen. If Andrew Cuomo wins, that rent's going up. You know, for the 1 in 5 New Yorkers who can't afford a Metro card, if I win, that bus is free. If Andrew Cuomo wins, that fare's still going up. And same thing with childcare. We all want people to raise a family here. We want them to grow old here. And we're making childcare $25,000 a year Who can do that?
And also for us as a generation, like, it's not possible. Like, life has been, we inherited a world that is hostile to life. And all of it is for someone else's profit. And there's a world where, you know, we have to make a city worth living in that's happy, and we want to have families. But this is not because people are lonely. It's because childcare is $25,000 a year. Like, yeah, people are lonely, but also we're working 2 jobs. How are you going to meet anybody? You know?
I think people will write any story so that they don't have to write the one about
Correct.
the economic realities of it.
Right.
It's like,
I'm confused why. In my opinion, I think that we need to, and I'm not saying this in a Fed posty way, the world needs to get less civil, it needs to get less peaceful. I feel like if I went back in time to the 1920s, disagreements over local electoral races would lead to people like fighting. I think there needs to be more social stigma for making the wrong decision. We're getting there with Trump, but I think we need more of that. Like, if you voted for Trump, I want you excised from public life. I don't want people to be like rude to you. Well, I should say I do, but I don't just want that. I want life to be like difficult and untenable. I want it to get worse in a bunch of ways. I want people to be biased against you in ways that are not fair, that just make life suck. You voted to make life worse for me. Why should life go the same for you? Why do you get to stab me in the back and then just keep walking away like you did nothing? You know? That. Bosch, back in the day, the mob supported getting women's suffrage, and if you stood against that, they'd literally set fire to your property. Now, I'm not saying that we should do that, but I think it speaks to an era where people have very strong convictions and understand how meaningful these decisions are. And I think that when people say stuff like, I ranked Daddy Cuomo, then Zoran Mamdani, haha, smile, it reflects an unseriousness. Now, politics is serious business, you know? I think it should be treated as such, not just like, oh, that was dumb of you, but like, you know, it's a serious problem, man. We got to bring back shame.
like, yeah, you're lonely because you can't afford to get a coffee with your friend. Like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. So, you know, Zohran, it's...
But the other side can do that too. They're doing it on a nationwide level. I don't know if you've noticed, the other side is currently doing that by illegally abducting and deporting legal immigrants and citizens both to Rwanda. Trust me, they don't have a problem with making your life worse. They just choose to do it through the power of the government. But we don't control the government right now. And mind you, by the way, I think everything belongs in its proper place. I don't think the government should be discriminatory to people based on their political preferences. Genuinely. If we got power back, I think the government should always treat all Americans fairly. I think we should be mean to them. You know? The Trump supporters have it the other way around. The Trump supporters are like, I know I voted for your rights to be taken away, but can't we be nice to each other? Can't we just get along? Why are you so mean to me? Meanwhile, they'll cheer and celebrate and froth at the mouth when ICE like cracks skulls of immigrants. Like, it's the government's job to be impartial and good to the American people. It's our job to be mean to people who want to take our rights away.
It's amazing. And
are we getting violent? Don't Fed post. I literally no. I just mean like shame people. That's not illegal. It's a cheap and easy thrill. Shame people. They should be shamed. I mean it. Don't lightly tolerate it. Don't like, oh, well, you know, everyone has their opinion. They have made your life worse. You can't shame them for that? Insane. Of course you can.
And again, everybody, we've just got 3.5 more hours of this very long journey.
Lefty misinfo. They have 1 hour, 10 minutes left.
And it's just about getting everyone there. And so if you are there, if you are in the city, if you can canvass a bus stop for the evening rush, it's 5:30. People are getting on their trains. They're going home. The subway stops are going to be crammed with people getting out after rush hour. You being at that, a person being there with a clipboard at the evening rush can make the difference. If you're from outside of New York City, texting a friend that you know lives in New York City to get them to vote can make the difference. And this is going to be so close. And that the fact that we are here is an enormous accomplishment. And I really hope that you soak that in and that you feel that, because you have really inspired not just New Yorkers, but you've really inspired a lot of people across the country that there is talent here. There is a bench here. There isn't a lack of leadership. There's a lack of people who want to make a path and make a way, but there's not a lack of leadership, and you've really shown that.
Well, thank you so much, truly. And to have had you as part of this campaign and to have had your support, it has been so much of why so many New Yorkers even know about this campaign. And I just want to say thank you to you for all of the years of the fight and being a part of this, and to everyone who's on this live right now. You have gotten us to this point as well. You have gotten us here where we are at the brink of making history. And ultimately,
God, I hope.
we want to banish the what if in these next 3.5 hours. The what if you made the phone call? What if you did the canvas? What if you sent the text? What if you went out and voted? I've met New Yorkers today who've asked to take selfies, who thought the election was going to be again
I got
tomorrow.
coffee and a cookie.
There are people who want to support this movement. They just don't know that they only have 3.5 hours. So go to Zohran.
You said previously you'd consider authoritarian arc if Zohran doesn't win. Were you serious about that? Will you actually consider being ML or vanguardists? No, because MLs are fake. They're disinfo created by the deep state. They're not real. They're fascists. There's no such thing as a Marxist-Leninist. There are Marxists and there are Leninists. Marxism-Leninism was a syncretic fake ideology constructed by the state under Stalin to legitimize his rule. It's not an actual set of beliefs. There's no coherent thought plan to Marxism-Leninism. And as for vanguardism, everyone's got a little vanguardism inside them. Even the anarchists. The anarchists are like, yeah, the people should lead the revolution. But like, if they ask me for advice on how to do it, like maybe I could like have a little hat. Yeah, everyone dips into that a little bit. So I'm not, I can't speak on that.
Run for NYC.com, sign up for a shift, come on out. It would be so lovely to have you. And Congresswoman, thank you for showing us that this has been possible for so many years and letting us become a part of this same journey.
Of course. Absolutely. It's going to take all of us. So thank you, Zohran. We're so excited. I'm sorry I can't be there. I'm stuck in DC voting on whatever, but that's all right.
You're here on every single palm card. So you are with us.
In spirit.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks so much. Bye.
Of course.
There's still a lot of video left.
Hey,
because Mamdani'S busy.
Thank you all. That was really great. I'm glad that you all have at least on this live had an opportunity to meet Zohran maybe over an Instagram live, or be able to hear from him directly. And so, sorry, the light's all weird here, but I'm glad that you all were able to do that, because this is a really special moment for New York City. And as I said before, the fact that Zohran has made it to this place is a testament to what it means to practice a politics of proximity to people, to practice a politics of genuinely loving people. And I don't mean that in this thing that people I don't think gets acknowledged, is that over time.
Don't you think it's weird we get a Muslim mayor in New York before a woman, gay person, or Jew? No, I don't really think of people that way.